So welcome back to the channel, and this one's a little bit overdue because majority of this I filmed some time ago, but I did really want to share how my trip to San Francisco went. We went for a weekend trip to attend Config 2023, which is a conference hosted by Figma, and unexpectedly ended up coming back with a lot of motivation and inspiration from this trip, which I'll be sharing later. So let's rewind a little, and this was day one at Config 2023. It was a really awesome time, and it was really full at the Moscone Center in downtown San Francisco, with people coming from all over the world. So we checked in and got our badges, and pretty much just went around exploring the different booths, checking out some of the merch that they had there, and some other interactive activities. And then I was really caught by surprise when someone came up to me and was like, "Hey, are you the guy on YouTube?" I got this question like 3 or 4 times on the first day of the conference, which I honestly did not expect at all. But it was really cool to just meet somebody who's seen your content from so far away. So then we headed to the main stage for the Figma keynote, which showcased some of the cool new features coming to Figma. But what was most interesting to me was hearing the perspective of these leaders on really interesting topics like how AI will affect design and more. And there was a lot of really inspiring design-oriented talks by leaders like Brian Chesky, CEO of Airbnb, Guillermo Rauch, CEO of Vercel, and many other notable companies like Netflix, Google, you name it. But the standout presentation for me was by Haral Dar, or Hali, the CEO of Weno. He went with a more personal story, and he demonstrated that success is not about having an abundance of skills or having resources from the start to create something meaningful. Hali didn't let the absence of certain abilities deter him from taking challenges head on. Instead, he adopted a mindset of continuous learning and growth. So after day one of Config, we ended up just doing some sightseeing around the city, and unfortunately I didn't get to record too much because we were just on the go, but here are some captures of some nice spots. This was by far one of my favorites for some reason, Salesforce Park, which was like a little oasis with live music and lots of people just hanging out. We then visited the De Young Museum and Golden Gate Park and checked out some nice neighborhoods like the Castro and Mission District. And of course, we had to walk across the Golden Gate Bridge, which was super cold and windy. So in the end, hearing these really inspiring personal stories and anecdotes from these talks just gave me that extra push and motivation to just go forward and achieve some of my own personal goals, and reminded me of an interesting unfair advantage that we have. As a software engineer, you can literally create anything in software with enough time. The tools are all there, the libraries of open source code, it's all there, and that's kind of underrated and something we tend to forget about. So for the rest of the video, I'm just gonna pack up my stuff and go to a new coffee shop, and I'll explain to you a little bit more over there about what I'm doing. Now, before we keep going, let me quickly tell you about the sponsor of today's video, which is LARQ. And I got to take some of their bottles with me on this trip, which you probably caught the cameo. And after testing them out, it's practically become like a new everyday carry item for me, especially this Swig Top bottle. And first off, it comes in this nice granite white, which surprisingly has gotten me some compliments. It has a leak-free cap, which snap closes, a comfortable soft touch grip handle, and it's wider than almost all my other bottles. And of course, it would keep your water cold for up to 24 hours. I'll for sure always be throwing it into my backpack, whether I'm going to work, traveling, or just going to get a workout in. Cause funny enough, for some reason I like to chug my water when I'm at the gym, which I can do with a straw, and I don't have to be worrying about unscrewing the bottle open. And I'm most likely going to be checking out some of their other home items just because of how cool they are. So if you're interested, check them out. I'll leave my link down in the description. Thank you, LARQ, and let's keep going with the video. So this here is Podium, a pretty cool looking coffee shop slash bar, and I've been meaning to check it out. I think it's run by the same people as the Porsche dealership next door, so it's cool. You get to see some nice cars coming in and out. Of course, I had to grab some coffee first. So alright, we made it, and again, I'm motivated to pick up on some of my personal projects, such as my portfolio website. So I have noticed my website getting a lot more traffic, maybe due to the growth of this YouTube channel. So one of my goals was to start writing more blog posts and to provide even more valuable content for you all. In there, I'll be covering some programming topics more in depth, potentially may even add some behind the scenes look at my video making process and more. I feel like this would help me start building more of a community with the channel because you guys are already pretty active in the comments, but we can do just a little more. That being said, a newsletter subscription will help me be sure that my posts are actually reaching people. So that's the first thing I'm working on tonight, and I was going back and forth between two platforms, Substack and ConvertKit. Looks like ConvertKit free is limited to 1,000 subs, and I have this feeling you guys will reach that limit real quick. Started working on the API route logic and the form UI, but I think the CTA needs a little bit more work. Also really quick, I did recently update my site to use the new Next.js app router. The migration seemed a little tedious, so I was kind of holding off on that, but it was worth it. Unfortunately, this coffee shop closes sooner than I imagined, so let me pack up my stuff before we get kicked out. So back at my place, decided to browse Dribble a bit and get a better idea on our CTA or call to action, and came up with this, which I'm much more satisfied with, but still keeping the minimal aesthetic here. Okay, so second thing I'm working on tonight is trying the new dynamic open graph images. I got inspiration for this when I was browsing this nice website by LARQ and saw how his open graph images are dynamically generated. This is a really cool feature that would help my blog's SEO and the overall first impressions that people get through the shared links. So I had to refer to the Next.js docs to see how this was set up and was running into a bit of trouble importing. I didn't notice that they updated the docs for Next.js 14, but I got that taken care of. Also, after playing around LARQ's site, I learned that he was just generating the blog title. His logo and the background gradient is just a static image. So going to the drawing board with Figma and designing something with a similar approach. I'm using the same color palette of my website, also adding some grain and texture, and there we go. Now to test out the link in a Notion bookmark. So there it is, and I think it's looking fine. And just to make sure the text is big enough for mobile, and we're good. Also, pretty cool, Vercel has this neat way to test your open graph images from your deployment. So that wraps it up. Hope you enjoyed coding with me, and I would love to hear about your own personal experiences on building your own personal projects. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next video.